Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and for today's video, we're going to be doing our CHIPPI review on the game Blast. Where did we get this game?
We were sent this game by White Goblin Games along with two other of their games, and that was Claim and Claim 2.
Yes,
So yeah, thank you, White Goblin Games.
yes. So, what are our initial thoughts on what is it? What are our core mechanic thoughts on this game?
Core mechanics, I ended up giving that one a 6. This is, people have described it as, what was it?
A ladder climbing
ladder climbing game, which
slash trick taking sort
I think is kind of in the same family as trick taking. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of trick taking as a mechanic. I thought this was pretty average, but there were some unique things with trying to get the planets as points to your side, and a couple unique abilities on the cards, something similar to Fox in the Forest, where each card kind of has a unique ability. But yeah, I kind of like the back and forth. It can work well, the back and forth. If I play a pair, and you try to beat me with a pair, and then I can beat you.
Because, yeah, in this game, you're kind of moving these 5 different planets that you have. So you can lay just a single card, and that's just high card wins.
Yep.
Then you can play a pair of cards, 2 different types. Then you can play 3 cards, either a run of the same suit, a run of all different suits, or 3 of a kind of different suits. So you have 5 different options of what you can kind of lay down, and then, yeah, like you said, then once you choose which one you're laying, then your opponent has the opportunity to respond with something that's higher than what you laid. So yeah, and then as someone wins a trick, the planets move towards them and can possibly move multiple times depending on what cards they use to win the trick. And yeah, I would agree. I gave it a 5.5, so kind of right along those same things. And yeah, I think the best, one of the best things the game has going for it is definitely those special powers on the cards. That they do remind me, like you said, of Fox in the Forest. I'm a little bit more of a fan of trick taking, or definitely in the Fox in the Forest. I think that's probably my favorite trick taking game, and one of my favorite, if not possibly my favorite, 2-player only game. So I think very highly of that one, and I think the powers remind me of that, where, yeah, the one allows you to bring that planet all the way over, because it's either in the middle, it's on your side, or it's on my side, so it can actually bring it all the way from your side over to my side.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, you shouldn't say the one, because it's not the number one, but there's 4 suits, pretty much, and each suit has a unique ability.
So yeah, the greed bots are the ones that bring it over.
If you win with it, you get to pull that planet not one spot, but all the way to your side. There's one that lets you trash cards, one that can be that number or smaller, and
one smaller than it.
Another one that can pretty much play as another suit.
Yeah.
What's our history? How many times have we played this game? I had it at, I believe we've played it 3 times.
Yeah, that's what we got for that. So yeah, and all these scores are out of 10.
Out of 10, yes.
So yes, we've played it 3 times so far. Then we go into investment. So that's kind of our the time you invest into the game. Kind of if you get a bunch of replayability out of the game, if you feel like it feels a little bit different each time, or you come back to it and it still feels fresh. For that, I gave it a 5. I think this game is, because of one of the things I didn't really talk about in the mechanics, is it's got a little bit of a catch-up mechanism. So depending on how many planets and how many stars, which is the way you're trying to win the game, is by getting 7 combined of those. And depending on how many you have compared to your opponent, you have to give them your highest cards, and then they can give you whatever cards they want. So typically their lowest cards, because then they won't be able to win tricks with that.
Yeah.
And I think that mechanic kind of just leads to extending out the game longer than it should be. So that's one of the big things with this game, is it felt like one that went on a little bit longer than what it should have, for me anyway. And I'm not entirely sure how replayable it'll be on its own, but I think having those special powers, having those will allow it to, and I believe they said they plan on adding content to the game, so I'm sure they'll be able to add more of the different factions, kind of like they did with Claims, to kind of add additional powers, and those might also change up the game a little bit. So I think this is definitely a game that's set up to be able to take in those new ones very nicely.
Yeah, I had it at a 4.25, so somewhat similar to yours. I don't think it's the most replayable game, as I think most trick-taking games aren't really overly replayable.
Right.
But I don't want to really bump the score too much for that, because being replayable doesn't really mean it's a great game, and if it's not replayable, doesn't really mean it's not a great game.
Right.
If there's not variety.
Right.
But I feel like this one kind of falls more into it could get old quicker than some games.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of going to play out the same kind of way with those catch-up mechanisms. It's like one person's going to get ahead, then the other person's going to get it right back, and that's just going to kind of keep going that way.
So,
and it could go a different way, but I feel like that's kind of what it's going to fall into, at least for us over time.
That's at least, and I don't know. I don't think we've really played any other ladder climbing games, so I don't know if there's a specific way they're supposed to be played, but it felt like when we were playing it, it kind of had that same thing where it just kept swinging back and forth depending on who was getting the higher cards. Usually that person would kind of run out their hand, and sometimes the other player wouldn't even get a chance to play any cards, because if you lead with some of the highest you can possibly lead, then the other player doesn't even have a chance to match it. So I think that could be tough, and there could be some potential downtime for one of the players, which is weird in a two-player game, but presentation. What did you think for that?
Presentation. I have it at a 5. I mean, it's just a deck of cards, pretty much. So not a lot there. I don't know if I am a fan of the artwork, really, especially the card backs. But I do like the fact that they have the pretty much upgrading races. So for each of the suits, they have the character that affiliated with that suit.
The 0 through 10.
Yeah, 0 through 10, and he gets more and more upgraded and larger as the numbers get bigger, and I thought that was a pretty cool detail. I like that.
Yeah, I gave it a 6.5. I think I like this art. This artwork's actually pretty nice when I was looking back at it.
I don't really care for the card backs, pretty much, but on the face of the cards, I do like it a little bit. Quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with the card backs. I think they give a good representation of the game, and then like you said, I like how they upgrade from 0 to 10, how they are all slightly different. They're getting bigger, larger. I like how the artwork looks, and also I think the box size is definitely the perfect size for being a card game. It's not trying to be more than what it is. It's not like twice the size of this box and trying to just take up shelf space. I think it's the perfect size for a game like this. And
card quality, I think it's pretty. It's not the best. It's just slightly below average, I would say. It's not too noticeable, but I think slightly below average, maybe average. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, I think it might be slightly below. I know the corners of some, even after we've only played it a few times, have kind of already worn a little bit. So it's a little below average. But otherwise I liked the artwork, and I thought the box size was perfect for what the game is.
You do appreciate a good box size.
That is something I do appreciate, when it feels like the right box size. And sometimes games struggle with it too, where they have too small of a box, like the Garfield games and stuff. It's like, okay, this time I could use like a Ticket to Ride size box, but now I'm
Yes.
cramming it all into, especially if you get like expansions and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then they come out with these big boxes, which almost seem like a Ticket to Ride size box, and it's just like, could we have maybe just started with that size box and then,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Onto preference.
yeah, this one gets a 3 from me. I prefer most of our 2-player games over it. I think I would rather play them. It I guess this one reminded me. It reminded me a lot of our other card games that we have. So kind of like I said before, the Fox and the Forest, the powers reminded me of, and then the moving the things back and forth reminded me of Shot and Totten, and those are both games that I prefer. I think, and also the other games they sent us, Claim and Claim 2. I prefer those over this as well. So yeah, this one probably I would think someone would have to be pretty interested in it for me to play it want to play it with them. I don't think I would probably choose it, but if someone else wanted to play it, then I would be willing to play it.
Yeah, I have it at a 4, and for the same reason I've written here, there are other better games. For anything that this game does, I feel like I can get that better somewhere else. And yeah, one thing you mentioned before, again, where a player can kind of take control and play all of their cards before someone else gets to play any in a round, which, I mean, happens probably once a game, maybe, on average. It's just, that doesn't feel right after you deal out the cards. That person spends all their time organizing their cards,
Right.
0 to 10, and then they don't get to play any. It's
Right.
like, okay.
That is just something about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
It factor.
I'm giving this an it factor of 2. I still think it's a really cool looking game. I enjoy the art of the game. I think that's my biggest thing with the game, and then also the abilities on the cards are very interesting. I think it's got a lot of interesting things going on. It's just, for me, it just does not come together in something that is really that satisfying to me. But yeah, I highly like the artwork on all the cards, and think that the powers are pretty cool.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. I do as well like the artwork on the cards, and yeah, I think on paper and sometimes in play, it can be very interesting in the way you get to play cards and play off of each other, and how those rounds can play out, and kind of getting the planets to your side or their side. It's got a lot of concepts that feel fresh, at least to us, because we haven't played a lot of games like this. So I think that bumps the it factor up a little bit, but yeah, I think the execution could have been a little smoother, a little better.
Yeah, I would agree, because so then we go pretty much to our final rating out of 10.
A final rating of 4.6.
That is exactly what I have as well, and like you said, I think you summed it up pretty well. It's just a game. It's a game that I really wanted to like, and it just has like these interesting, new, fresh ideas that they don't come together, at least for me. But I wish, I don't know, I just wish they came together a little better.
Because there are those few things that it's like, that sounds really cool, but then when you're playing, it just doesn't feel that cool. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's just not that I'm not the biggest fan of trick taking, and maybe I'm just not that big a fan of the ladder climbing games. I'm sure there's some people who would love this game, and it's fine, but I mean, probably not one that I'm going to want to get to the table that often.
Right, I would agree, and I would definitely, like you said, there's probably people out there that will enjoy this, that maybe like ladder climbing more than we probably do. So I would definitely still, look into it and check it out. I believe they said it'll be coming out in October 2021. So look out for that. And also, I would recommend both Claim and Claim 2
yes.
From them as well. We're hoping to do some videos shortly on those as well. But yeah, I would recommend those over this personally, but I would definitely still check it out.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about it?
Not really. I think we've covered everything here. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Go check out our channel, all our other videos on other games. We have a lot more positive reviews. This one just didn't happen to be for us. But if you want to see some games that are for us, you can go check out our other videos. And thank you for watching. Comment below if you have your thoughts on this game. And as always,
don't forget to keep on nibbling.